In this tutorial, we will discuss Electude's DIY tool. To build something new, you will begin by going to the Modules tab. Then from the left-hand menu, select a content folder where you wish to store your item. In this example, I'm going to place this in Electrical Systems, Basic Electrical Engineering. To the center of the page, you see the content items that currently exist. And then if we wish to build something new, we're going to initiate by clicking the plus button. By default, lesson is shown here in the type. If you click the drop down, you can build a lesson, quiz, test, lab task, engine management simulator exercise. You can upload a file, a video, a web link, or you can copy something you've created in the past and make a new edition of it. For this example, I'm going to create a lesson. Next, we have to title the lesson. You can place a description here if you choose, as well as a level. If you only want the module to be viewable by teachers only, you can tick this box, otherwise leave it unchecked. Then click Add. So now we have the structure of the DIY module built, and it resides here in this folder. So we have our title up here at the top. We can place this item in our favorites. If we want to edit this title, we click the pencil. We can copy the item from here or delete it. To begin, we're going to click Edit Module. And here is our our blank canvas. And we're ready to go to work here. Let's look at some of these toolbars over here to the left. So one of the more important buttons is this Save button. You'll want to make sure you click this often. There is no auto save, so click the button to save often. Then over here we have a little Lego block. From here you click and it opens up a menu of all the Electude animations. So for example, if I pick something here, let's say for ammeter. Here we have our graphic. We can cycle through the various graphics here on the screen using the slider. Once we find the item that we want to bring in, we click the OK button, and that brings the item in. So we got a fully interactive graphic here. If I want to ask a question or have the student do something in this graphic, it needs to be kind of interactive, so you can kind of make measurements to see what kind of question that you wish to ask. Over here to the right, we have our page text. Just click on the empty space and you'll get a cursor, and you can write your page text here. And then below you have a question box. Here again, click in the empty area and you'll get a flashing cursor. And we can write our first question. And so to get this answer, this is where we're going to have to make the measurement now to know what to put as a correct answer. So we've got about 3 amps here. So in the DIY tool, when you're in author mode, you'll always put the correct answer up here at the top. So we're going to put 3 amps. And then you put your incorrect responses here. In the green and brown area, this is where you're going to put your feedback responses. So for correct and wrong answer. And then your feedback response here. Okay. And then to add a new question, there is over here to the right, we have two plus buttons. This top plus is going to add another page. The lower plus is going to add another question. So if we want to stay in this section, we're not going to click this plus. We're going to click this one down here. And you can see we add another question. It does pull that graphic over. So if we wanted to make another measurement here, maybe measure current through R3, R4. But this time we're going to do a fill in a numeral response type question. So we're going to click the little settings or this little gear wheel. And we're going to change this from multiple choice to open question numeral. So our choices here, we can do multiple response, which would be kind of like multiple answer. Numeral, open question text. I don't really recommend using this one because you only have one correct spelling that you can input for that. So I know some of these other test tools, they allow you to put 3 or 4 different versions. This is only one version, so I'd stay away from using that type of a question. We have the drag and drop question, which I'll demonstrate a little later. Hotspot question. Number from iframe. This allows you to bring like a website into the question, or no question at all. But in this case, we're going to do numeral response. And we can change the weighting here if we choose to. So maybe I want to make this worth 5 points. And and if I click this button here, the student cannot progress to the next question unless they get this right. So you will kind of want to remember to probably tick that on every question if you're building a lesson. Okay, so we can write our question. And now we're going to put in unit of measurement for whatever number we put in for the answer, and this is going to be amps. So this is x equal or less than, answer equal or greater than. So this is basically where you're going to put your ranges for correct answer. And you can see the numbers bouncing around here just a little bit, so we want to put in a little bit of a range. I'm going to go from, let's say, 3.5 to 4.2. So any number in between those two will be counted as correct. Our feedback response. Make sure you click save. So now we've got 2 questions. Let's add another section. So we're going to add a page up here at the top. So now we go page 2. It goes back to question 1. We'll pull that graphic over just as before. But instead of an Electude graphic or image, let's bring in something of our own. So this is our image file. Now this being my demo site, I've used it for a number of years. I've got a lot of pictures and graphics already in here. By default, you start with just the one image folder, but you can right click on this folder and add as many subfolders as you choose. So you'll want to create a number of different subfolders. And let's go into, how about, let's do waveforms here. So here's some graphics I have. Let's bring in maybe this ignition pattern. So there we have an ignition pattern from a scope. Now what we're going to do is make this this graphic interactive. So let's wrench on this question. We're going to click the little gear wheel down here at the bottom. Instead of a multiple choice, let's do a hotspot question. And we're going to give, let's say, 4 possibilities, 1 correct answer, and we'll leave this with a weighting of 3. Hit OK. So we have 3 possibilities here that are incorrect, and then the blue dot would be the correct response. So we need to devise our question here. How about indicate the spark line. Okay, indicate the spark line. This is the amount of time the spark is present between the electrodes at the spark plug. So this here is our spark line, and so we're going to drag the correct response to that line, and then we'll put our incorrect possibilities elsewhere here. Just like that. Okay. Remember to hit save. And we'll review what these all look like here in a bit once we get done building this. Let's add another question. So we're going to click the lower plus. Pulls the graphic over again. Maybe we could even do, here, let's do a drag and drop style question. So we're going to wrench on this question again. Instead of a multiple choice, we're going to do a drag and drop. And we'll do 3 possibilities here. Hit OK. And so we're going to identify the parts of the ignition pattern. So right now these possibilities don't really mean much until we start typing in here. So we're going to click on the line, and so we've got primary circuit on, turned on, primary circuit turned off, and we'll do spark line. So here's our spark line. Primary circuit turned off. That would be our firing line here. Here, we can put that here. Firing line. And spark line. There we go. Just be a little bit more specific. And this would be over here. Maybe this isn't the ideal question for a drag and drop, but this could be really good for tool ID and things like that. But we'll see what that looks like. But this would probably be better suited for a hotspot style question. But this is a cool option for depending upon the graphic that you have here. I just probably didn't pick the best example. Let's add another one. Let's try that again with a better example. We'll have a little fun here. We'll pick this from my Three Stooges folder. It's always fun with these guys. Name the Stooges. So what we got here, we have, do our drag and drop again. Yeah, this will work a little better. Here we got Curly, we got Mo over here, and Larry. So you can literally make any photograph that you have interactive using either the hotspot or this drag and drop question. Works great for like tool or part identification, A lot of really interesting things you can do there. Of course, our feedback response here. They're all loud, but Mo is the leader, so to speak. Okay, and we hit save. All right, let's see, what other kind of questions do we have here? Oh, let's bring in a video for our next example. So if we open up another tab here, we'll just go to YouTube really quick. And we'll find something here in YouTube, maybe a Scanner Danner. So here's Scanner Danner. He's got a lot of videos. Let's find one here. How about this one here on waveforms?
This is the Dell AI.
So you'll notice there's an ad in front of this, but if we copy the share button or the share link, just copy that text, and we go back to the DIY tool. We're going to click the plus down here to add another question. Now we're going to paste over this with a video. And now we're going to paste in that copied link and hit OK. And there is our video. So this video will play. Notice it strips the ad. Then we can ask a question about that video. Some of the other tools here, most of these are pretty self-explanatory. You got your bold, italic, underlined, as far as your subtext, bullet points, that sort of thing. You've got a undo button. Let's talk more about these when you'd use these selection boxes. Let's say that we added a bunch more questions here, but we wanted to end it. We want to get rid of these questions that we accidentally added. You can go to your last question, click the lower selection box. Notice it puts a dotted line just around the question, so nothing up here in the paged area. So now if I click the little trash can, it deletes that question, and I can continue to do that for as many questions as I want to remove. The upper selection button would delete the page. So if I accidentally added another page and I want to get rid of this page, even if you have to be careful here, because if I now select the whole page, notice now that everything is selected. This would delete this page plus however many questions that I have for that page. So just take care with that to make sure that you don't accidentally delete a number of questions. That's kind of the basics of the Electude DIY tool. Let's go ahead and save this, and then we'll back out. Click the little arrow here to the left. And if we wanted to go back and edit this copy later on, we'd want to edit the last saved copy. Once we're ready to have it published to be used, we click Publish Copy. And now it can be assigned either in Canvas or brought into one of your courses, or not Canvas, Blackboard. And then over here to the right, you have an icon, that little icon that's off to the right that students see. You can put your logo here. So if we click this little button, you have you can upload logos, and so you can see here's the Electude logo if I want to bring that in, or I can click on that and bring the UTI logo in. But that's kind of a neat little touch. I think students would enjoy in knowing whether or not this is something that UTI built or that Electude built, but then this can be brought in. This allows you to do a lot of custom things. If we start the module now, here's our first question. Of course, the student would make the measurement. Answer the question, hit check. Very good. And get their feedback response. Go on to the next question. Measure the current through R3, R4. So this is our numeral response. Then we shift gears up here at the top, go to page 2. Here is our hotspot question. Indicate the spark line. This is the amount of time the spark is present between the electrodes of the spark plug. So if they click the wrong response here and hit check, that's not right. Let me make a new selection. There we go. Identify the parts of the ignition pattern. So we do have some dots here, so when I was dragging those down, it did place a dot. That's nice. So this should work. Spark line, burn time. Primary circuit turned on, ignition module on. Primary circuit turned off, firing line. Name the stooges. Okay, we got, here we'll make a mistake here and just so you see what happens there. You have 0 of the 3 parts, so student would bring that back up and make some adjustments here. Hit check. There we go. And then here's our video. Student would play the video. We didn't write any questions for that, but yeah, that's how it works. If we wish to edit any of these questions, so right now we're dealing with the published copy, we can still go in here and edit this. Even while students may be working on this, we can make adjustments. So maybe here I want to give 4 choices. I can, here again, wrench on this question, give a 4th option. Maybe I want to add another question to this here, so I click the plus. What is true? What is true about an ammeter? This time let's do a multiple answer style question. So we're going to do multiple response. We're going to do 3 correct answers. Or no, three. Let's do 4 options with 2 correct answers. And we'll change the weight here to 4. Hit OK. What is true about an ammeter? So now here again, we always put our correct responses at the top. And what's the last one here? There we go. So there's our question. Hit save. And so we've made some edits to this test. We've added an additional answer choice to this one, and then we added a 3rd question here, a multiple response, and we saved it. Now when we exit, we're going to see multiple buttons here now. So if I click Start Module, we will not see the edits that we made, because this, when we click Start Module, it's the published copy, because we don't want to change what students might be currently working on. If I want to go back and resume making edits to the last saved copy, I would click this button. Now, if I want to override the current published copy, I would just publish this again. And now when I start the module, we're going to see here our updates. So here's the 4th answer choice. Here's the additional hotspot, or not hotspot, but the multiple answer question. But that's how the Electude DIY tool works. If I wanted to make another copy of this, I could click this button. But where is this lesson going to be found? Of course, it's going to be found here in this basic electrical engineering folder. Typically, it's always going to be at the bottom at first, but then they'll put it in alphabetical order when you refresh your screen. If you lose it, you say, man, I cannot find, where did I put that lesson? You can always use the search button and click all new, and it'll be, of course, at the top. Or you can click on the self-made folder and see all your self-made lessons and content items there. Well, that's a brief introduction to Electude DIY. Hope you found this tutorial useful.